Meet Mako, one of the fastest rising content creators living in Lisbon. Why does she need a change, and can you relate?
It's like you work to live, and I didn't feel like I was living.
What was a priority for her in Lisbon?
It was a really safe neighborhood as well. I think as a woman, I care about safety as well, so I didn't mind paying a little bit extra.
She tells a story of something that happened to her so you can be warned and know what to do if it happens to you.
And I had no idea. It was my first time trying to live in the city, and I had no idea, so I was panicking. And
what's something she noticed about Lisbon that caught her off guard?
No, I mean, I think that is something that Americans are quite used to having air conditioning as well. And so it can be a shock. So it's actually a good tip, like when you're moving here and you're looking for accommodation.
Yes.
What does moving abroad elicit in her and maybe in you?
This is not my first time living abroad. I lived in the US as well. But every time I move into a new country, I feel like...
Mako, thanks so much for joining me today. Let's talk about Lisbon.
Yeah.
You live in Lisbon.
Yes.
But you came actually on a trip a year ago.
Yes.
So tell us why Lisbon? What happened?
Well, I visited here last summer on a trip, and I was traveling around. I was in the south, and then I went to Lisbon, and I went to Porto. And when I got to Lisbon, that was really familiar to me because I'm from a city called Kobe in Japan. It's a port city, and I don't know, that reminded me of my own city, and I felt really comfortable. So I decided to move here. Yeah, basically I fell in love with the city.
Good. Okay, we'll talk about the visa in a second, but on this trip, were you thinking maybe I'll move to Portugal, or it was purely just a tourist trip?
You know, I was a tourist and I saw the bridge, in Lisbon, and I'm from Japan, but I used to live in San Francisco, and they have the bridge that looks exactly the same here. Yeah. It's actually by the same architect. And when I saw the bridge, I felt like I heard a calling. I felt like I need to move here. So that's why I decided to move here, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had the flexibility that you were able to move because of your job?
Yes. So I have a YouTube channel where I share my journey of quitting a 9-to-5 job in Japan as a Japanese woman. And also I share my life where I put my health and happiness first. So yeah, I have the flexibility. So that's why I decided to just go for it.
Yeah. What's the name of your channel?
It's Mako. It's just my name. Also my username is my life as Mako.
Okay, great. So
my life as me.
Yeah, of course, everyone can check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you came from Japan, but you also lived in the U.S. as well.
Yes.
And were you doing YouTube in the U.S., or what were you doing in the U.S.?
No, basically I went to university in San Francisco. I was born and raised in Japan, but I always felt like, I want to experience different worlds. Yeah. And when I turned junior in high school, I just decided to go for it. I had never lived outside of Japan, but I don't know. I just felt like I need to try what I want to try. Yeah. And that's, I guess, how I am. And that's probably how I ended up in Portugal, kind of the other side of the world.
Right. Yeah. And you went by yourself to the U.S.
Yeah. Completely by myself. I was 18 and I just went there. I didn't even go there to check out my school. I just flew there, and then my orientation started.
Oh, wow.
The same week.
Did that scare your parents?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think they're still scared of me now. No, but I think they trusted me. And, when I say I want something, I mean it. And I think they trusted me, but also they were scared.
Right. I think typical parents, right? Yeah. Trust you. And you're an adult at that point, too. So it's like, okay, but still worry. But it went well. You enjoyed your time in the States.
Yes.
And then you went back to Japan after university?
Yes. So I got a 9-to-5 job in Tokyo. I moved back there. I worked there for like 5 years. And then I decided to quit.
Yeah, because you're like, I don't want a 9-to-5 job anymore.
Yeah, I think I had a bit of a burnout as well. And, living in Japan, there are a lot of rules, and it's a fun country to travel around, and it's a beautiful country. I love my country, but it could be very, very stressful to work in environments like that.
Right. Yeah. We hear the same from our U.S.-based audience that, the work-life balance is off, right?
Yes.
You work a lot.
It's like you work to live, and I didn't feel like I was living.
Okay. Yeah. So same in Japan as well.
Yes.
And then, coming here, do you feel that here, or how do you feel? Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you had this like really go type job.
Yeah.
You quit, and then you started traveling, or what happened after you quit your job in Tokyo?
Yeah. So I quit my job in Tokyo, and then the first thing I did was to travel around Europe. So I went to Italy, Greece, and then went back to Japan. I moved out of Tokyo. So I moved to a coastal town around 1 hour drive from Tokyo. So that alone was a little bit more, freeing. I lived right near the beach, so it was quite relaxing. And I started to making content on YouTube video. Yeah, I was traveling, but not full-time traveling. I was kind of doing whatever the wind took me.
Okay.
And I guess I'm continuing to do that way still.
Yeah. Okay. So then you decided last summer to travel just to Portugal, or did you do other European countries?
So I quit 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I did the Europe trip to Italy and Greece. And then the next year I did Germany, Switzerland, and Portugal. Okay. So that's how I found out about this beautiful town.
Yeah, and Lisbon was the only place that kind of spoke to you where you were like, I want to live here compared to all the different places you visit? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in Lisbon, you're like, I want to live here. So then how did you make that happen?
So I came back to Lisbon for 3 months without a visa because I have a Japanese passport and that allows me to stay up to 90 days without a visa. I wanted to do like a test run before I make a permanent or long-term move. So I just, decided to move here for 3 months, see if I like it because, traveling as a tourist and living in the city, I think that's a different thing. Sure. So I wanted to see if I enjoy living here. And when I moved here for 3 months, I felt like comfortable. I could really see myself living here for a long term. So that I did the test run and then I went back to Japan, applied for a working holiday visa. Right now I'm on working holiday visa, or I think they call it youth mobility visa here. Okay. And I applied for that in Japan and then I came back again.
Okay. We'll talk about the visa in a second, but when you came on that test run, just your normal like tourist visa, what kind of accommodation did you stay in?
Okay, so I moved into like a co-living apartment so that I don't have to get all the furniture or, I don't have to worry about any of that. They had like a big living room where you can work and I had my own room with a private bathroom.
Okay, good. So probably cheaper than like an Airbnb or something.
Probably. I think I paid around $750, which is probably higher than the average price, but it was in a really, really nice neighborhood. I had amazing access, like 1 minute walk to the metro station and then, supermarket within a minute or two. So it was just the perfect location. So I didn't mind paying premium price.
Right.
It was a really safe neighborhood as well. I think as a woman, I care about safety as well. Sure. So I didn't mind paying a little bit extra for that.
What neighborhood is that?
It's near the Park station. It's basically 1 minute away from the Parque Metro station.
Okay. Yeah. So a good area. You felt that it was safe.
Yes.
Any other pros, good things about that area?
I think there are a lot of expats living there, a lot of international people living there. So you don't really need to speak Portuguese in daily life. Of course, it's better if you can speak it. But then I didn't feel uncomfortable speaking English to people. So yeah, I think that's another pro. And also there was a park right behind where I lived and I could see beautiful sunset there. I can take a walk anytime. I think it's a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah, that's good. So it's like you're in the city, but then you also have a bit of that green.
Exactly.
So it's a good balance too.
It's a good balance and there are cafes everywhere too if you want to, work remotely. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you had a good experience. Those 3 months confirmed, I want to do this. So then you had to go back to Japan, your home country, because you couldn't apply here.
Yeah, you cannot apply working holiday visa from outside of your country, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so you went back to Japan. And what kinds of things did you need for this type of visa?
So for my visa, I need to do my health check to make sure I'm healthy to live and work in a foreign country. And then I need to have 16,000 euros in my bank account, I believe. So you need to get bank statement and I need to get apostille. Those are the main things that I needed to get. Yeah. So it wasn't that much of work. I think the only thing is apostille because you need to go there, get appointments, and then get your fingerprints. Yeah, so that's probably the one that took the longest. Yeah.
Okay. How long did it take you to collect all the documents?
Probably like 2 weeks, I would say. So it wasn't that long, but then I was in Japan. I think Japan is usually quick with a lot of the documentation.
Yeah. Good job, Japan. Yeah. Okay, so you submitted that and then you just had to wait in Japan until you got the approval.
Yes.
And how long did that take?
So approval took 2 weeks, which was a surprise to me. They said initially that it's going to take around 2 months. So my departure date I already set as like, I think June. I was in Japan and it was May, and I was like, oh my God, I already have a visa. I could go if I want. But then the visa says it's from June, so I needed to wait until the start date.
That makes sense, yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah, that's fine, right?
That's fine.
I mean, it's actually better to get it earlier rather than be waiting for
exactly.
longer.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I guess youth mobility visa is probably one of the easiest one to get, but also maybe because I was in Japan, I think they usually quicker than they say.
Yeah, that's true. And how long is the visa good for?
For 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are the requirements of the visa?
You have to be under 30.
Okay.
But what a lot of people don't know is that you can apply until the day you turn 31. So right now I'm 30 years old. I'm going to turn 31 in January. So if I want to, I can apply another youth mobility visa, for example, in Spain, and do another 1 year in Spain if I want to. Yeah.
Okay. Any other requirements besides like showing proof of financial stability, right? You have money in your bank account.
Yeah.
And then it's good for 1 year.
So it depends on the country that you're going to, obviously, but for Portugal, the requirement is pretty low. You just have to have 16,000 euros or more in your bank account, and you don't have to physically work in Portugal. If you want to, you can just, study, or you can just travel. It is no requirement for you to get a job in Portugal, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I have a Japanese friend on the same visa. She's just traveling around.
Okay.
She's not working. So yeah, you have a lot of freedom with this visa, I would say.
Yeah. And it gives you the opportunity then to work on your YouTube channel and everything, so you don't have to work in an actual cafe or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a great visa to consider if you're, under 30.
Yeah.
Or 31.
Yeah.
Wait, is it 30?
Yeah. 31, right? Yeah. Okay.
If you haven't turned 31, it's a good visa to consider.
Right. Yes. Okay, so you're back now living, but you're not in the same neighborhood. You've changed neighborhoods.
Yes. Now I'm in Australia.
Okay. Yeah. And how's that?
It's amazing. I think it's a little bit smaller comparing to where I used to live near the Parque Metro station, but there are a lot of cafe. I live right next to the park. I think that's one of the best park in Lisbon.
It's a nice one, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like that area. I still haven't explored the area fully, but I'm really excited to, get to know the neighborhood more.
Yeah. Good. Okay, let's talk about like the cost of living here. So kind of just on average, because you visited last year and then you came in for 3 months and then you left and came back. So you've kind of seen, like, have you seen changes in the past year and a half or so?
I would say because I was doing apartment hunting and a lot of my friends were doing apartment hunting at the same time, and I think it is getting more difficult to get what you want with the budget. I mean, I think if you have limitless budget, there's no problem, but
that's nice. Yeah.
It's nice, but a lot of people don't have that, right? And I do think the rent price is probably going up, and so that is in my opinion, it is difficult to get a good apartment under budget, I would say. Yeah. But cost of living, I would say it depends on your lifestyle, really, because you could go to those international cafes that charge extra and then you can work there and you have everything. But you can also go to a local, cafe and then you can pay 2 euros or 1 euro for pastel de nata. So it depends on, I think, what you're looking for and then how you live.
Yeah, that makes sense. On average, I guess for a single person, what would you recommend someone budgets for everything just to get a house or, a T1 apartment, let's say?
T1, okay, so 1 bedroom,
1 bedroom, and then just the normal, nothing crazy. Like you're not going out and getting massages and nails and all that stuff done all the time. But just like, what would you say someone needs in Lisbon to live comfortably?
I don't know T1, but I guess like including nice studio and T1, I feel like you might want to probably pay 1,300 to 1,500 if you want to get like a nice apartment for yourself without sharing with anyone. And then, so maybe, I don't know, 1,800 if you want to live comfortably. Is it too high? I don't know.
No, I mean, I think that 1,800 for a single person is probably
average.
Probably I would say the minimum, because housing is pretty high.
Housing, yeah. It's mainly the housing.
Yeah.
I think, because I cook a lot, so I usually go to grocery store and then buy everything. So that's not that expensive.
Okay, good.
Of course, if you eat out every single day, then of course it adds up. But if you go grocery shopping and then cook at home, like it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah.
It's really the rent.
The rent is really the big thing, right?
The rent is a big thing. So yeah, I'll probably say 1,800 to maybe 2,000.
Right.
If you want to live comfortably.
I think that makes sense, yeah. But again, like you said, it depends on lifestyle.
Exactly.
You know, how you're going to live, right?
Yeah, of course. Because, I mean, I don't know if I should talk about it, but there's like a private community near I live where there's a Pilates studio and co-working space and everything. I think they charge like 600 euros per month just to join their membership. So you could do that if you want. Then
but that's a lot, right? 600 a month, that's a big chunk, right?
Yeah, so it depends on your lifestyle, but 1,800 to 2,000.
Yeah,
maybe.
so that's 1,800 to 2,000 is doable.
Yeah.
But again, depending on your lifestyle.
Depends, yes.
Okay, earlier you mentioned safety. So do you feel safe in Lisbon?
Yes, I do, which I'm pretty happy about because I'm from Japan and Japan is pretty safe. You know, it depends on where you live, but pretty safe country in general. So I really worried about it before I got here. The only thing is that I just got here on the 3-month trial last year, and I was at the airport. I was exhausted after 24 hours of traveling, so I got into the taxi and from the airport, and I was gonna just go to the hotel near the airport, like 10 minutes drive. At the end of the ride, he said, "Oh, it's 110 euros."
What?
Yeah, and I was like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah,
like, what do you mean? I think it was like 110 or 89 euros. I forgot the exact number, but it was a crazy number.
Yeah,
that he threw out
for like a 10-minute drive.
10-minute drive.
Yeah,
and he said, "Oh no, it's a flat fee for everywhere you go. Past 2 kilometers, we charge the same amount to every passenger tonight." And I had no idea. It was my first time living. It was my first time kind of, trying to live in the city. And I had no idea. So I was panicking. And I told him that I'm going to call the police. And he said, actually, it's fine. You don't have to pay. And
of course, because it's wrong.
Yeah. And I gave him some cash, like 20 euros or something, right? I mean, it makes sense. It's 10 minutes drive. I think 20 euros is
plenty.
Yeah, right?
Was it like the middle of the night or like what hour was it?
I think it was around
late.
11 p.m.
But even still, like it's not, it's, I think, it could be a bit higher if it's like the middle of the night, but not that high.
Yeah, so the lesson learned, like just take an Uber or
Bolt,
so that you know how much you're paying before you get into the car.
Right.
And also he was asking me where I'm from, like, oh, where are you from? Just to make sure that I'm not from here. So I think he was collecting information to, make sure that I don't know anything so that he can overcharge me. So yeah.
That's awful.
Just be careful.
Well, like taxis don't like Uber and Bolt, but when you do things like this, it makes people not want to take taxis because it's you don't know what you're going to get, if you're going to get a trustworthy person or not. Exactly. Whereas with an Uber or Bolt, you see the price. Exactly. So I like Uber and Bolt as well because and Josh hates when we travel and you have to like haggle with a taxi or like you don't know. They say, "Oh, I'll use the meter," but then they take you the long way, or you don't have that with Uber and Bolt, which is really nice. So it's reliable,
and there's a rating, so and you can report if there's a problem. So as a woman, I like that better. So now I only take Uber if I want to. But other than that, I feel pretty safe.
Yeah, but
I think I got unlucky.
And good for you for sticking up for yourself. I mean, like logic tells you that it should not be this much. So you say, I'm going to call the police. Or if you were at the hotel, you could have gone into the reception maybe and said something to them. I'm sure that they would have helped too. So
I told him that I'm going to go into the front desk. Do you want to go with me? And he obviously doesn't want to get out of the car. And I had my suitcase in the trunk, so I couldn't leave the car. He can just drive away, right?
Right, yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I'm going to call the police.
Yeah. But overall, besides that,
like that was just me being unlucky, I think. Other than that, like I haven't felt unsafe in the city. I think it's a pretty safe city to live as a woman.
Okay. So walking around at night and everything.
Yeah.
Any tips? I mean, still being aware of your surroundings, but
yeah, I mean, always be aware, maybe, and also in general, you shouldn't be always, listening to music at the maximum volume at night, maybe. Yeah, just make sure you pay attention to your surroundings. But other than that, I think it's quite safe.
Yeah, it's
for
safe.
me.
That's good
So far.
Is there anything you miss from Japan now that you're here?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't want to sound like a spoiled
No,
person.
no, I mean, it makes sense.
But when I first arrived here this time, the heat wave hit the
Okay.
entire Europe, and it was like 40 degrees. Do you remember?
Uh-huh.
And there was no AC in the building, and I didn't think about it because every building in Japan usually has AC. You can't probably survive without AC in Japan because of the humidity, and then in summer it can get 40, 41, 42 degrees, right? Here it was like 40, 41, 40, 42 degrees without AC. So for me, that was a little bit crazy.
Hot, yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
No, I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't fall asleep at night because the place that I was staying at, it was a top floor. So it was getting all the sunlight. So it felt like sauna. So that was one thing that I missed. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a crazy person.
No, I mean, I think that is something that Americans are quite used to having air conditioning as well. And so it can be a shock. So it's actually a good tip, like when you're moving here and you're looking for accommodation, if you know that you get hot and you can't live off like a fan, or like, because some people don't want to be hot, right? And they like the fan or something. Yeah. But if you know that you need it cold, look for a place that has air conditioning when you're renting.
Yeah, I might sound like a crazy person, but really, like, I was literally editing my video on the hallway with a wet towel on my head and then an ice pack on my neck because I was dying. Like, I was really dying.
Hot. Yeah.
It was really, really hot. But I hope that was temporary. I think usually Lisbon has like a really nice weather, not too hot, not too cold. I think in average it's fine. I think it was the heat wave that was driving me crazy.
Yeah, the heat waves can definitely get you. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so any other things that you potentially miss?
Well, in terms of food, I love Portuguese food here, and me being Japanese, I care a lot about food, especially seafood, because where I'm from, we always eat seafood. But here, I can get amazing seafood as well, so I don't really miss that. There are also a lot of international cuisines available. There are a lot of good Japanese restaurants here, so I don't really need to miss that, which is amazing. So right now, I don't really think I miss anything from Japan yet.
So you've been able to find good Japanese food.
Yes.
Okay, well that's good.
Yes.
Like, are the chefs and owners Japanese or?
Well, not all of them.
Okay.
But I think one of my favorite, it's called Yoizaru, near Prince
Hale?
Yes. That's my favorite. And there's another restaurant called Mako in Estrella, in the neighborhood that I live in. Those are the two Japanese restaurants that I tend to go to.
Okay. Yeah. So they're good ones.
They're authentic.
Yeah.
I would say.
But you also like Portuguese food.
I love Portuguese food, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's a similarity to Japanese food because we both really embrace seafood, and they don't put a lot of crazy seasonings in dishes, which I like. They try to kind of maximize the potential of the natural resources, if that makes sense. Yeah.
What's your favorite Portuguese dish?
What's my favorite Portuguese? I like everything. But I really
like seafood, or do you also like the meat dishes?
I really like pork.
Okay.
The slow cooked pork. I really like that, and I also really like octopus dishes. Also garlic shrimp. I don't know if that's considered Portuguese.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
I like garlic shrimp. Also like the steak with the cream on it. I don't know how you call that in Portuguese, but the Portuguese style steak.
Yeah.
The steak with the cream. I really like that. So there's a restaurant called Cafe Sal Bento in Estrella. If you have been?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
They have amazing steaks. So if you're visiting, I think I highly recommend you to visit the restaurant.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
So overall, you're really happy with your move to Lisbon.
Yeah.
And the plan would be to stay here after another year, or what are you thinking after your visa runs out?
I don't know yet, but maybe I'll consider trying to apply for, freelance visa if I like living here after a while. So far, so good, but maybe for now, I'm just going to use the 1-year visa and I'll think about it afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, at Expats Everywhere, we believe that living abroad transforms lives. So how has living abroad transformed your life?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, this is not my first time living abroad. I lived in the US as well. But every time I move into a new country, I feel like a new chapter. I feel like I'm rebranding myself almost. I can be whoever I want to be here. Nobody knows me. I can make new friends. I can start a new hobby. It really excites me to be able to create my life from scratch, even though it comes with difficulties and challenges. So I don't know if is that a good answer.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not sure.
great. No, yeah. Yeah, of course you rebrand yourself and you can try new things, you know, maybe get a little bit outside of your comfort zone and try different things. Maybe something that's original to the country or not, but yeah, you can rebrand yourself. I think that's really great.
I think it motivates me to try new things, and also it makes me fall back in love with my own culture as well. So I started taking Japanese drum class in Lisbon actually, and that's being a big part of my life. So I think living abroad is a great way to start new things, but also to appreciate what you already had in your life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me.
And make sure you check out her channel. And if you want to see a little more about Lisbon, we have a neighborhood breakdown series right here. So also check that out. Now, let's get moving.